Hey guys, Alec from Druid Dice here, and today is finally the day. We are casting our stained glass blanks, and I have been super jazzed about this. I know I've got a lot of comments asking me when it's going to come out, and here we are. Go ahead and stay till the end to see how you can win your own stained glass mold. Let's get casting. My first thought when wanting to make these blanks really came down to kind of going all out and crazy with the colors, like going for that stained glass, church window, just every color of the rainbow. But I want the emphasis to be on the lines themselves, not just the dice or the resin. So I think we're just going to keep it really simple, stick with the glass theme, do some of these amazing Dream Flakes by Glitter Hippo, and pair it with the Sailboat Blue, just a touch of this resin dye. So that way it gives it that nice blue shine, just that traditional glass feel without being too overdone, so the focus can be really on the awesome design work of the blanks themselves. I'm gonna get these cast up and you guys can pop back with me here on the demold in about 12 hours. Our blanks have been in the pressure pot for 12 hours now, and while still a little bit on the soft, they're totally valuable for us to demold, and I don't have any patience. So let's go ahead and pop these and see how they turned out. Oh, these are awesome. All right, hang on a second. Hang on. I gotta get these out so you guys can actually see them. We don't have any voids or any other issues, so that's good. And nah, they're beautiful. There's like no flashing on these, which is stupid. I wish every dice set could come out this clean right out of the mold. All right. Hang on, I'm coming, I promise. Look at them. The Dream Flakes just give it that beautiful shine. Oh, these are gonna look so good when painting up. That kind of leads me to my next question. What are we gonna paint these? I've kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit about it. Initially, I was really feeling going with a silver, but that's silver and gold is like the default standard when it comes to painting blanks. So those are both out. Our neighbors really dig the Sex Pistols. I can't argue with it, but it makes filming a little hard. I went with this cool Dream Flake and really light touch of blue for the blanks themselves, and I want to lean into that. So taking a look here at my couple options, the game colors are a little too purple, too dark for me, and the sky blue just isn't hitting my vibe. But this Viking blue right here is pretty much spot on perfect. A little bit baby blue, still a bit dark. I think it's gonna work perfectly. Let's get this on the brush and see what it looks like. We've got our blanks all painted up, and now we're ready to go ahead and get them into our dice mold. We're going to use the same resin that we use to cast the blanks, which is our KS liquid art resin. It's always been my go-to, and if you're interested in using this resin as well, you'll find a 10% off coupon code in the description below. The KS resin in particular is a 2-part 50-50 mix by volume, not by weight, which makes life really easy when you're trying to measure and dose it out. So all I got to do is get it just about where I like it. And then I can come down here and make sure that they are equal parts. There we go. So we've got a part A and part B. So just like with any normal dice set, we're gonna go ahead and combine and mix. I'm not going to add any additional colorants to these because we're just encasing our blanks. And with the blanks already having a touch of color and that Dream Flake on top of the awesome Viking blue paint job, we're not going to worry about needing to have any sort of extra color. But if you wanted to, you could always do that. All right, we've got our resin nice and thoroughly mixed. Now we're gonna go ahead and get the blanks in. First thing I wanna do before I even mess with my blanks is get a little bit of resin prepped in each of these dice voids. Holes? Spots? Negatives? Yeah, let's go with negatives. Just so that way we're not trapping any air down below these blanks. And just gonna find your blank that you're putting in. I'm gonna start with this D12 here. Line up the face so everything's in the correct orientation. And simply pop it right in. And it should go in with little to no resistance. And by filling the mold about halfway, you shouldn't have any issues with it underfilling, but we can always come back in and top it off. The important thing is to remember which way your dice is going in so you don't accidentally put it in there cockeyed or sideways, because that's when you really run into trouble with popping these blanks in. The D10s are notoriously bad for this. So I'm going to move this resin to the side. For the D10 in particular, I like to grab my mold and spread it a little bit so that way I can really get the dice in there without scratching my faces. The D10 and the D8 in particular will give you a little bit of trouble. See, so this is what we want to avoid because that's all cockeyed there. But if that happens to you, don't worry about it. You just pop it right back out and put it in the right way. You don't have to overthink it. There we go. And then with the D20s, just lining up this top triangle so that way it matches, and then just giving it a quick push down and let the resin do the work. It's like magic. There we go. We're just going to go back through. Now I'm sure you've noticed, but these blanks are slightly undersized just so they rest on the faces of the numbers while not being too pinched. Because the last thing you want is your blanks to be too big, and then you'll get A, really bad flashing, and B, your dice molds will be expanded a little bit, so your dice will be out of square. You'll have a little wonky shapes. And that's not what we're going for here today. So just like any normal mold, we're gonna go ahead and get that filled up. Last thing I do with my blanks is I always flex it and give it a squish to really compress out any of that excess air. And then give it a little bit more. You can't put too much in here. There's a lot of bubbles, but that's okay. We're casting under pressure. A little on the cap. Boop. At this point, if you want, you can hit it with a lighter or your heat gun, but you really don't need to worry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and put our cap on. Massage to make sure our keys are in place. And do CPR like always. We're gonna go ahead and put this mold in the pressure pot. This is gonna eliminate all of those bubbles you saw before and really give us perfectly clear dice, and especially important since we're casting blanks, because there's so much little wiggle room there with resin that we get this under pressure. You can cast without a pressure pot, but you just have to be extremely careful in your mixing, whereas I like to mix like a blender. All right, so we've gone ahead, we've prepped our blanks, we've got our colors picked, we've inked them, we've got them in our dice mold, and now we get to see if all that effort was really worth the work. We're gonna pop this open, make sure there's no holes and voids, and if we're lucky enough, get them painted and get some beautiful B-roll. Let's crack these. All right, moment of truth. Hold your breath. Oh, yes. Look at that. No voids, no issues. That is exactly what we're looking for. All right, we'll just get that flashing off. All right, we'll get the rest of the flashing off of this and get them cleaned up and ready to go. All right, all right. I knew these were going to be good, but I didn't expect them to be this good. But they're not quite done yet. We need to go ahead, grab our brush, get some ink on these numbers, and get you guys the beautiful B-roll you came here for. Let's get it done. These dice are just about perfect. I am over the moon with how good they came out. I was really a little bit hesitant, to be perfectly honest, about going with the blue, but I'm so happy I did. Gold and silver, well, they would have looked good, just breaking the mold, so to speak, and going with this blue-pink combo, I think made it. I can't wait to do other dice styles with different color variations, and I can't wait to see what you guys make with your dice mold. So like I said, if you want to win this mold, go ahead and comment down below on what type of colors and inclusions you might include in your stained glass. And if you want to pick one up now instead of waiting, you can head over to druiddice.com where you can pick up this mold. We're selling it with all 3 of our D4 styles included, so you are ready to go right out the gate no matter what dice mold you use from us here at Druid Dice. Happy casting!